thought I'd start a little, and we've got some company here. Oh. Thought I'd start a bit of a training diary again. I'll come and go on this one. And even though I'm not running at the moment, I'm about three weeks in, I guess, or close to 3 weeks with the stress fracture, and the shin is feeling pretty good. I'm going to hop on it, which I tested out yesterday. And but unfortunately, probably about not even a week after I had the x-ray on my shin, I was finishing up doing yoga, and I tripped sort of into the door frame, and on the other side, my foot on the other side, stubbed it really badly on the pinky side, and the whole foot just swelled up, and there was a lot of bruising, and I think I've probably strained a few things, and it's sort of starting to calm down a little bit now, but it's still nowhere near the vicinity of like being okay to run on by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, with the, so sort of usually with, which I have had no idea about this before, because this, a lot of people assume because I've been running for a long time and I run generally over 100 kilometres a week, that I would have had experience with a stress fracture or a stress reaction before, but I have not. So sort of new territory for me. And when we looked at with my osteo, we looked at the sort of the progression. Like phase 1 is basically getting to the point of being able to walk around without feeling any pain, which happened relatively quickly, which I think is probably because like I caught it pretty quickly. So when I had the x-ray, they're like, there's a subtle line there. So it wasn't super clear. So I think it's sort of like at the beginning stages of a stress fracture. So that's probably why it responded pretty quickly. So that happened pretty quickly. And then stage 2 is to sort of like the criteria for getting out of stage 2 would be that I can hop on that leg without any pain. Obviously, moving around is pain-free. That I can do some loaded strength stuff, so squats, which has also been fine. I did about 5 or 6 sets of 3 at about in the vicinity of 40 to 47 kilos the other day. That was good, no problems with that. Next step is to start to do some 30-minute walks, because I've been limiting my walking just to, limiting to errands, basically, that kind of thing. So I will test that out this week. And then if that all goes okay, then I would start sort of like essentially like a learn to run program, which I know a bit about, which would be just taking it really easy in terms of starting with some walk run and sort of slowly building up over a period of a month up to 30 minutes. And obviously, if it's not responding as well as I'd like, that would take longer, but it's not going to take any shorter than that, because the risk with cross training is that you get, it's like not a risk, but you are doing a lot of stuff that's completely unloaded. So you're swimming, and I probably can start biking this week too, or biking, but you're doing nothing where there's no impact. And so while in terms of your cardio fitness is going to be pretty high, but your legs are completely unused to any form of impact. So it is really easy for your cardio fitness to almost be too good for your legs. So you got to take it really, really easily. And that is what I will be doing. So that's sort of like the plan of where I'm at the moment. And I've also just sort of taken it as like, like I like to do all the training, like even with swimming, which can be a harder sell, or deep water running. Like I like all that stuff. I like doing the strength training. I like doing something most days, but I've also sort of taken it as like, I think that the stress fracture didn't happen because of a training overload, because the training is always the same pretty much. And I didn't change surfaces. So like some of the things that you might expect as to the reason why are not there. And a lot of what I can put it down to is just the stress of this year, because your body can't tell the difference between, you know, physical stress and emotional stress. And that's what it is. So I've been kind of like taking the view of like, I aim to do something every day, and sometimes it might be, you know, like do my strength training and then go for a swim, or then do some other stuff, but also kind of taking a view of like, if it doesn't happen, or if I feel like I'd be better off having a rest day, that's what I'm doing. So I'm not worrying about it. So not being too regimented with the with sort of like my program, because, you know, I kind of think if I do it, great. If I don't do it, then it's extra recovery. And particularly with the toe at the moment, like it's hard to stay off, but also like if I have a weekend where I don't really do anything, I kind of think it probably benefits it more than necessarily like being on my feet and pressure on my feet all the time. And it's really frustrating because it's a really slow period of recovery, but it is getting better. I'm starting to be able to put my foot in a shoe. So yeah, when it happened, I said to Josh, you know, like, oh man, like if this takes longer to recover than the shin, I'm going to be pretty pissed. But, you know, you just can't hurry it along, and it's really easy to underestimate like how much that pinky toe does. So yeah, like it's going to take the amount of time that it takes. And I think that yeah, it is, in some ways it's probably a blessing, because it's going to sort of help me to take a really conservative path with the shin. But yeah, I would just like love, at the moment the only shoes that I can wear are my Ultras, because they have that really wide toe box, and anything else like is pretty uncomfortable. And so most of the stuff, like when I'm at the gym, like I'm going there and I'm like taking my shoes off and just doing everything in socks, because it just it's not has not been a happy camper by any stretch of the imagination. So this week I've got sort of in a regular pattern of deep water running on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. As I discovered on Saturday, they have a aqua aerobics class on in the morning, so I think I'll be sort of going a bit later. So I can still do my stuff, but you've only got half the pool, and after 9 o'clock it's sort of like a bit less busy. So I think that will be my plan. I've had a few people ask me about the deep water running. Actually have a flotation belt for that, because it makes it a lot easier for like if you don't have the belt, you're effectively just treading water, and it is really hard to modulate the air intensity, and it's also really hard to keep everything in a good position because you just try and stay above water. So have that on, and you would have sort of like water is like probably up to about like shoulder, and so you have that like the arms going as well as the legs, so you are simulating a full running motion. And when I'm doing more intense things, like you're obviously sort of like punching down through the water a lot harder than when you're doing your sort of like recoveries. But it's actually like quite a fun thing to do if you are in a period of not doing running on land, because with swimming you're always having like, it's good, but it takes a bit of effort to kind of have all that coordinated breathing, and you're underwater most of the time, whereas with the deep water running you're not underwater, so you don't have to worry about the breathing. You can kind of look around, you can have a chat to other people who are doing their rehab or at the end of their laps or whatever, and it's just a really nice way of breaking it up. And like particularly because I'm at the outdoor pool, so at least I'm outside, so it's quite a nice thing to do. So if it's something where you aren't running and you want to try something else beyond what you have been doing, it's a great thing to give it a go, or even sign up for the aqua aerobics class as well if you want want it to do it in more of a group and don't just want to be on your own doing deep water running back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, that is what this week is going to be looking like for me. And I will just sort of like keep monitoring how my leg's reacting. It's probably a good time now that things have sort of calmed down a bit. I think I'll probably also book in to get a massage done to just sort of help loosen it up. I've started doing some foam rolling in that area, but it's still pretty tight. So that is going to be my plan, and I will check in with you next week.